Before you scroll away, listen carefully. This message did not appear before your eyes by accident. You were guided here for a reason, and deep within your spirit, you already feel it. Something has been fighting against you for a very long time. Something invisible, something you could never fully explain. My beloved child, do not ignore this moment. Stay with me now, because what I am about to reveal may finally explain why your life has felt so heavy lately. Why you keep getting close to breakthrough, only to watch it slip away at the last moment. Why you feel exhausted even after trying so hard to stay faithful. I know you have been tired, not just physically tired, soul tired. The kind of tiredness that sleep cannot fix. The kind that quietly settles deep inside your chest after too many disappointments. Too many delays, too many silent battles no one else can see. I saw every moment. I saw the nights when you lay awake pretending to be strong while your thoughts slowly consumed you. I saw you smiling in front of others while secretly wondering if anything in your life would ever truly change. I heard the prayers you whispered through tears, even the ones you were too broken to finish. And my child, I never ignored a single one. But listen carefully now. What you are facing is deeper than what you think. You believed you were only struggling financially. You thought you were simply unlucky. You blamed yourself for every closed door, every failed opportunity, every delay, every setback. But what if I told you that there has been a hidden battle surrounding your life for far longer than you realize? A battle designed to wear down your spirit little by little until you stopped believing that you deserved more. Because darkness understands something many people do not. If it can weaken your identity, it can weaken your future. If it can convince you that you are forgotten, it can stop you from reaching for the blessing I prepared for you. This is why the attacks against you have felt so personal. This is why rejection hurt you so deeply. This is why disappointment kept echoing louder in your heart than hope. The enemy was never only trying to steal opportunities from you. It was trying to steal your image of yourself. It was trying to make you forget who you are. But today, I am interrupting that lie. Today, I am pulling back the curtain. And before this message ends, something inside you will begin to awaken again. Do not skip this. This next part matters deeply. My child, there were moments when you came so close to your breakthrough that you could almost feel it in your hands. You sensed that something good was finally about to happen. You started hoping again, but then suddenly everything collapsed without explanation. The opportunity disappeared. The relationship broke apart. The finances fell apart. The peace vanished again, and afterward you sat there asking yourself the same painful question over and over. Why does this keep happening to me? You wondered if maybe you simply were not good enough, not smart enough, not strong enough, not worthy enough. But hear me clearly now. Those thoughts never came from me. I have never called you worthless. I have never called you forgotten. I have never called you abandoned. Those labels were placed upon you by pain, by fear, and by spiritual attacks designed to shrink your vision of yourself. Because as long as you believe you are small, you will hesitate before entering the doors I prepared for you. As long as you believe you are broken beyond repair, you will push away the very blessings I am trying to place in your hands. This is why the battle around your identity became so intense. The enemy knows that once you truly understand who you are in me, everything changes. The chains begin to break. The fear begins to lose its grip. The confusion begins to clear. And suddenly you stop living like a prisoner and start walking like my child again. That is why I brought you here today. Not to condemn you, not to shame you, but to wake you up before you give up on yourself completely. My beloved child, you have spent too long carrying invisible accusations inside your heart. You replay old failures in your mind. You remember the times people rejected you, the betrayals, the humiliations, the missed opportunities, the moments you tried your best and still watched everything fall apart. And without realizing it, you slowly agreed with the lie that maybe your destiny would never change. But I am telling you now, that lie ends here, because your story is not over. Your delay is not your destruction, and your current season is not your final identity. There is still oil upon your life. There is still purpose within you. There is still blessing attached to your name. Even now, while you feel weak, heaven still recognizes you. Do not fear your exhaustion. Even strong souls grow weary after carrying invisible battles for too long. But your weariness does not mean I left you. In fact, I have been closest to you in the moments you felt most abandoned. When you cried silently, I was there. When your heart almost gave up, I was there. When you questioned your worth, I was there. And even now, as you listen to these words, my presence is surrounding you more closely than you realize. You are not alone in this battle. You never were. But there is something important you must understand now. This warfare against your life did not begin yesterday. Some battles attached themselves to your heart through years of fear, rejection, and disappointment. Some entered through words spoken over you by others. Some through wounds you never fully healed from. And some through cycles that repeated for generations before you were even born. But listen carefully. Those chains do not have the authority to define your future anymore. Not once you awaken. Not once you recognize what has been happening. Not once you stop agreeing with the lies spoken against your destiny. Because the moment you begin seeing yourself through my eyes again, everything starts changing. That is why Isaiah 43:1 says, "Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. You are mine." Not fears, not shames, not failures, not the past's. Mine. And when I place my hand upon someone, darkness loses its final claim over their future. My child, this message is your warning, but it is also your confirmation. The heaviness you have been carrying was never proof that I abandoned you. It was proof that something valuable exists inside you, something heaven still intends to bring forth, something the enemy has been trying desperately to suppress. But the suppression is breaking now. The confusion is breaking now. The hopelessness is breaking now. And although you cannot fully see it yet, a shift has already begun. Even now, things are moving behind the scenes that you cannot yet understand. Doors are being rearranged. Spiritual chains are weakening. Hidden battles are turning in your favor. And soon you will begin to notice small signs that your season is changing. Do not ignore them when they appear, because they will not be coincidences. They will be confirmations. My beloved child, I know you almost gave up. I know there were days when you stopped expecting anything good to happen. Days when your prayers felt empty. Days when your faith felt numb. But I am asking you now, trust me one more time, stay with me a little longer, because what is coming next will explain even more about the battles surrounding your life. And once you understand it, you will never see your struggles the same way again. Comment Amen if you believe this message found you for a reason. My beloved child, stay with me carefully now, because what I am about to reveal explains the frustration that has quietly exhausted your spirit for years. You have asked yourself this question many times without saying it out loud. Why does breakthrough always feel so close, only to disappear again? Why do opportunities arrive, then collapse at the last second? Why do relationships begin with hope, only to end in heartbreak? Why does it seem like every time life finally starts improving, something suddenly goes wrong again? You tried to stay faithful. You kept praying. You kept hoping. You kept believing things would finally change. But after so many disappointments, your heart slowly became afraid to expect too much anymore. I know this pain deeply. I saw every moment when hope rose inside you, only to be crushed again before your eyes. I saw how each disappointment quietly stole a little more strength from your soul. You stopped celebrating too early, stopped dreaming too big, stopped trusting fully, because disappointment had trained your heart to protect itself. And now, even when good things appear before you, A hidden fear whispers inside, what if this falls apart too? My child, that fear did not grow inside you overnight. It was built through repeated battles, repeated delays, repeated heartbreak, repeated waiting seasons that stretched longer than you thought you could endure. But listen carefully now. The miracle was never truly absent. It was suspended, held in a place between breakthrough and manifestation, close enough for you to sense, yet somehow always beyond your reach. And this is where many souls become dangerously weary, not because they stopped loving me, but because they stopped expecting anything from me anymore. This is the gray place of exhaustion, the place where prayers continue, but hope grows silent, the place where worship still happens, but expectation slowly dies. And my child, I know you have stood in that place. You continued moving forward outwardly while inwardly wondering if anything would ever truly change. You smiled around people while secretly carrying disappointment that no one else could understand. You became tired of explaining your pain, tired of repeating your struggles, tired of trying to stay positive, while your soul quietly fought invisible heaviness every single day. And some nights, you even wondered if I still heard you at all. But hear me now, I heard every prayer, even the prayers you could no longer put into words, even the silent tears you wiped away before anyone could see them, even the moments your heart simply whispered, I cannot keep doing this. I heard it all, and I never left you. But there is something deeper happening beneath the surface of your delays, something you must understand now. Delay is not always punishment. Sometimes delay is evidence of spiritual resistance. There are battles taking place around your future that your physical eyes cannot see. Battles designed to wear down your faith before your blessing arrives, because the enemy understands something dangerous. If it cannot completely destroy you, it will try to exhaust you. It will try to make you emotionally surrender before the breakthrough comes. It will try to convince you that nothing will ever change, so you stop reaching toward the future I prepared for you. That is why the waiting became so heavy. That is why discouragement kept returning in waves. That is why you sometimes felt trapped in cycles you could not explain. This was never only about circumstances, it was warfare against your expectation. Because expectation is powerful, faith is powerful, hope is powerful. And once those things weaken inside a person, they begin settling for survival instead of destiny. But my beloved child, you were never created merely to survive. You were created to rise. You were created to carry purpose. You were created to walk in authority. And even though your faith became wounded through waiting, the fire inside you never fully died. That is why you are still here. That is why this message found you. Because despite everything that tried to break you, something within you still longs to believe again. Listen carefully now. The enemy wanted you to mistake delay for abandonment. But delay was never proof that I forgot you. Sometimes I delay because I am protecting you from things you cannot yet see. Sometimes I delay because your spirit is still healing from battles that nearly destroyed your confidence. Sometimes I delay because the blessing you asked for requires a stronger version of you to carry it safely. You ask me for abundance, but I first prepare your character. You ask me for open doors, but I first heal the fear that would cause you to run away once those doors appear. You ask me for restoration, but I first remove the lies that taught you that you were unworthy of receiving it. Because if I placed a great blessing into wounded hands too early, the blessing itself could crush you, and I will never give you something beautiful before preparing you to sustain it. This is why your process has felt longer than others around you. You watched people move ahead while you remained stuck waiting. You watched others receive opportunities quickly while your own doors remained closed. And secretly you wondered if maybe I loved them more than you. But my child, every destiny carries a different weight. Some blessings arrive quickly because they are small to carry. Others arrive slowly because they contain generational impact. What I prepared for you is deeper than what you currently understand. Your journey was never only about money, never only about relationships, never only about success. It was about transformation. Because I am not merely building your future, I am rebuilding your identity. I am healing the hidden fractures inside your soul. I am removing the fear that entered you through rejection. I am uprooting the shame planted there by disappointment. I am restoring the confidence that years of delay slowly stole from you. And though the process felt painful, it was never meaningless. Do not fear the silence you walked through. I was still working there, even in seasons when nothing appeared to move. I was rearranging things you could not yet see, protecting you from doors that would have wounded you, removing people who secretly intended to use you, breaking attachments that would have destroyed your peace later, healing places inside you that no one else even knew existed. I was working in hidden places because hidden healing creates lasting transformation. My beloved child, listen closely now. The waiting season is not where your story ends. The exhaustion is not your final identity. The disappointment is not your destiny. And what felt suspended in your life is not dead. It is still alive before me. Your breakthrough has not vanished. Your blessing has not disappeared. Your purpose has not been canceled. The enemy only wanted you to believe it had. But the truth is this: heaven has not forgotten your name. I have not forgotten your prayers, and I have not forgotten the promises attached to your life. That is why Hebrews 10:38 says, "The righteous shall live by faith," not by visible results, not by temporary emotions, not by circumstances, by faith. And even now, while you feel weary, faith is still quietly breathing inside you. That small flicker of hope you thought was dying, I am breathing on it again. I am restoring it again. I am strengthening it again. Because soon you will begin seeing signs that the long season of delay is shifting. Small confirmations, unexpected openings, new strength returning to your spirit. Moments where peace suddenly replaces heaviness without explanation. Do not ignore those moments when they begin appearing. They will be evidence that the atmosphere around your life is changing. The battle is turning, the resistance is weakening, and what once felt permanently blocked is beginning to move again. But stay with me carefully now, because the next truth I reveal will explain why the attacks against your life became so personal. It was never only about your finances. It was never only about your opportunities. It was about your name. And once you understand this, you will finally understand why the battle became so intense. Type 1, still believe if you refuse to give up now. My beloved child, listen very carefully now, because what I am about to reveal explains why the attacks against your life have always felt so personal. This was never only about money, never only about delays, never only about missed opportunities. The real battle has always been connected to your identity, to your name, to the way you see yourself when no one else is around. And until you understand this, you will continue fighting battles without realizing where the true attack is coming from. My child, there are wounds that go deeper than the body, wounds that settle silently inside a person's identity, wounds that slowly reshape the way they think, speak, dream, and expect. I saw how disappointment slowly changed the way you viewed yourself. At first, you only questioned your circumstances, but over time, you began questioning your worth. You stopped saying it out loud, but deep inside, hidden thoughts began growing quietly within you. Maybe I'm not meant for better things. Maybe this is just my destiny. Maybe other people are chosen, but not me. And every time another door closed, every time another relationship broke apart, every time another opportunity slipped through your fingers, those lies grew louder. My beloved child, hear me clearly now. Those accusations never came from me. I have never called you forgotten. I have never called you weak. I have never called you worthless. Those labels were planted through pain, because darkness understands a dangerous truth. If it can distort your identity, it can influence your future. That is why the enemy attacked your confidence before attacking your circumstances. Because once a person believes they are unworthy, they stop reaching for the blessings prepared for them. Once a person believes they are destined to fail, they unconsciously sabotage opportunities before they even begin. And slowly, without realizing it, they begin living beneath the life I intended for them. This is why your battles became so exhausting. You were not only fighting circumstances, you were fighting invisible accusations against your identity. Every rejection whispered, "You are not enough." Every delay whispered, "You are forgotten." Every disappointment whispered, "You will never change." And after hearing those whispers long enough, part of your heart started believing them. But today I am exposing those lies because they have imprisoned your mind for too long. My child, do you remember the moments you wanted to dream bigger, but fear immediately rushed in? The moments you wanted to believe again, but disappointment reminded you of every past failure. The moments you almost stepped forward confidently, only to suddenly feel small again. That was not coincidence, that was warfare against your identity. Because the enemy fears what happens when you finally see yourself through my eyes. The moment you understand who you truly are, fear begins losing its authority over you. The moment you realize you are my child, shame begins breaking. The moment you stop agreeing with lies, spiritual chains begin weakening. That is why the attacks intensified whenever you got close to breakthrough. The closer you moved toward healing, the louder the accusations became. The closer you moved toward purpose, the heavier the discouragement became. The closer you moved toward freedom, the stronger the confusion tried to grow. Because darkness was never only trying to stop your blessing, it was trying to stop your awakening. Do not skip this. This next truth matters deeply. My beloved child, one of the enemy's greatest weapons is repetition. Not because the lie is powerful, but because repeated lies slowly become believable to wounded hearts. You heard rejection repeatedly. You experienced disappointment repeatedly. You faced delays repeatedly. And eventually, your heart became conditioned to expect pain more than blessing. Even when good things appeared, you secretly waited for them to disappear. Even when someone genuinely cared about you, part of you struggled to trust it. Even when opportunities opened, fear whispered that you would somehow ruin everything. My child, this is what prolonged spiritual exhaustion does to a person. It trains them to live defensively instead of confidently. It teaches them survival instead of expectation. It convinces them to stay emotionally small because disappointment hurt too much before. But I did not create you to shrink yourself. I did not create you to walk through life apologizing for your existence. I did not create you to constantly doubt your value. I formed you with purpose. I formed you intentionally. I formed you with destiny attached to your name. That is why Isaiah 43:1 says, I have called you by name. You are mine. Your name matters to heaven. Your life matters to heaven. Your future matters to heaven. Even now, while you feel tired and uncertain, heaven still recognizes the oil upon your life. And my child, there are things attached to your destiny that darkness does not want you to discover. Gifts within you, authority within you, purpose within you. Because once you awaken fully, you will stop living like someone defeated. You will stop begging life for permission to exist. You will stop agreeing with the lies that kept your spirit trapped for years. And that awakening terrifies darkness. This is why self-hatred became one of the deepest attacks against your life. Because the enemy understood something dangerous. If you start condemning yourself, it no longer needs to attack you constantly. You begin doing the work for it. You begin speaking defeat over your own future. You begin shrinking your own dreams. You begin expecting disappointment before life even unfolds. And slowly your own mouth starts repeating the verdict spoken against you. But my beloved child, that cycle breaks today. You are not the labels attached to your pain. You are not the names people called you during your lowest seasons. You are not your failures. You are not your mistakes. You are not your delays. And you are certainly not forgotten. I need you to hear this deeply now. The enemy attacked your identity because your identity carries power. There is authority connected to knowing who you are in me. There is confidence connected to understanding that your value does not come from people's approval. There is freedom connected to realizing that your past does not control your future. And there is breakthrough connected to finally rejecting the false labels spoken over your life. My child, many people spend their entire lives trapped beneath identities I never gave them. Some believe they are permanently broken. Some believe they are unlovable. Some believe they are cursed to repeat the same cycles forever. And because they believe those lies deeply, they unknowingly shape their entire future around them. That is why Proverbs 23:7 says, "As a man thinks in his heart, so is he." What you repeatedly believe about yourself eventually shapes the way you live. That is why I am healing your identity before I release certain blessings. Because if your heart still believes you are unworthy, you will struggle to keep what heaven sends. If your soul still expects abandonment, you will sabotage healthy things before they can fully grow. If your spirit still agrees with fear, you will hesitate before entering the doors I open. But I am restoring your mind now. I am restoring your confidence now. I am restoring your identity now. And even though you do not fully feel it yet, something inside you is already beginning to awaken. You are beginning to see the battle more clearly. You are beginning to understand why your exhaustion felt deeper than ordinary stress. You are beginning to realize that this warfare was never random. And soon, my beloved child, you will begin separating your true identity from the false labels attached to your pain. You will stop introducing yourself through your wounds. You will stop defining yourself through your disappointments. You will stop seeing yourself through the eyes of rejection. Because I am calling you by another name now. Not failure, not forgotten, not abandoned, mine. And once you fully believe that, everything begins changing. But stay with me carefully now, because the next truth I reveal will uncover the most dangerous place a wounded believer can enter. The place where faith still exists, but expectation quietly dies. And many never realize they are trapped there until years have already passed. Type "I am chosen" if you refuse to believe the lies anymore. My beloved child, this next truth is painful, but you need to hear it carefully. There is a place many wounded souls enter without realizing it. A dangerous place, a quiet place, a place where faith still exists outwardly, but expectation slowly dies inside. And the enemy loves this place because it looks harmless from the outside. You still pray, you still worship, you still say the right things. But deep within your heart, something has grown tired. Something has stopped expecting miracles. Something has stopped believing that breakthrough could truly happen for you personally. My child, I know you have stood in this gray zone before. Maybe you are standing there even now. You did not walk away from me completely, but you no longer approach me with the same excitement you once had. You no longer dream as boldly. You no longer expect doors to open quickly. You no longer trust good things to remain. And after so many disappointments, part of your heart quietly decided it is safer not to hope too much anymore. I understand why you felt this way. Repeated disappointment wounds expectation. Long seasons of waiting exhaust the soul. Invisible warfare drains emotional strength little by little until survival feels easier than believing again. And slowly, without noticing it, many people stop living with anticipation. They begin merely existing. They wake up, carry their burdens, hide their exhaustion, repeat the same routines. And deep inside, they secretly wonder, will anything ever really change? My beloved child, this is one of the enemy's greatest goals. Not necessarily to make you abandon me completely, but to make you emotionally numb. because a numb heart no longer reaches forward with bold faith. A numb heart stops expecting restoration. A numb heart settles into quiet hopelessness. And eventually, the person begins living far beneath the destiny I prepared for them. This is why spiritual exhaustion is so dangerous. It slowly convinces people that disappointment is normal. It teaches them to expect delay more than breakthrough. It trains them to prepare for failure instead of promise. But hear me clearly now, I never called you to live emotionally buried. I never intended for your hope to die in the waiting season. And even though your faith became weary, I am reviving it now. Listen carefully. There were moments when you came before me praying, but inside you already expected nothing to happen. You still spoke words of belief outwardly, but inwardly disappointment had already built walls around your heart. And every unanswered prayer seemed to add another layer of heaviness inside you. You started protecting yourself emotionally. You stopped celebrating possibilities too early, stopped trusting fully, stopped opening your heart completely because hope had become painful. But my child, I did not create hope to wound you. The enemy wounded your hope through repeated discouragement. That is why I am healing your heart before I release certain things into your life. Because if your expectation remains buried, you may fail to recognize the miracle even when it finally arrives. Do not skip this. This next part matters deeply. My beloved child, there are people who physically remain close to me while emotionally drifting farther away every year. Not because they hate me, not because they lost all belief, but because prolonged pain quietly convinced them that expecting too much would only hurt again. So they pray carefully, dream carefully, love carefully, trust carefully. Everything becomes guarded, everything becomes emotionally restrained, and eventually they stop living with joy altogether. I saw this happening inside you. I saw how disappointment changed your posture toward life. You became cautious, afraid to fully believe, afraid to fully trust, afraid to fully hope again. And the saddest part is that many wounded people no longer realize how deeply fear has shaped them. Fear becomes normal. Emotional heaviness becomes familiar. Survival becomes routine. But my child, you were not created merely to survive. You were created to live with peace, to live with confidence, to live with expectation, to live with spiritual authority. And although your heart became weary, I never withdrew my promises from your life. Not once. Not even during the seasons when you doubted yourself the most. That is why Psalm 34:18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." I was closest to you in the moments you felt most emotionally shattered. When you cried alone, I was there. When you silently questioned your worth, I was there. When you smiled outwardly while secretly collapsing inwardly, I was there. And even now, while you listen to these words, I am standing beside the parts of you that became emotionally exhausted through waiting. My child, your disappointment never scared me. Your exhaustion never pushed me away. Your tears never made me love you less. I understand the hidden weight you carried. I understand how long this season has felt. I understand how hard it became to keep believing after repeated heartbreak. But this gray zone is not where your story ends. You are not meant to remain emotionally trapped between faith and hopelessness forever. I am calling you out of that place now, out of emotional numbness, out of survival mode, out of hidden despair, out of the quiet belief that nothing will ever change. Because things are already changing, even though you cannot fully see it yet. The atmosphere around your life is shifting. Your spirit is awakening again. And the heaviness that tried to bury your expectation is beginning to loosen its grip. My beloved child, one of the enemy's greatest lies is this: if it hasn't happened yet, it never will. But delay does not mean denial. Silence does not mean absence. Waiting does not mean abandonment. Sometimes the longest seasons produce the deepest transformations. Because during the waiting, I was not ignoring you. I was strengthening hidden places inside you, teaching your spirit endurance, healing wounds you buried long ago, preparing your heart to carry things your old self could never sustain. And though you thought nothing was happening, heaven was moving constantly behind the scenes. I know there were nights you wanted to give up completely, nights you felt emotionally empty, nights you wondered if your prayers were simply disappearing into silence. But my child, your prayers were never wasted. Not one tear, not one cry, not one sleepless night. I collected them all. And soon you will understand why the process took longer than you expected. Because what I am building within you is deeper than temporary comfort. I am rebuilding your identity, rebuilding your faith, rebuilding your confidence, rebuilding your ability to hope again without fear controlling your heart. And once that restoration finishes, you will no longer approach life like someone waiting for disappointment. You will walk with authority again. You will pray with expectation again. You will dream without fear again. You will believe without constantly preparing yourself for collapse. Because I am restoring your hope at the root. My beloved child, hear this carefully now. The enemy wanted your faith exhausted before your breakthrough arrived. It wanted you emotionally numb before the miracle appeared. It wanted your heart so discouraged that you would stop reaching forward altogether. But it failed, because despite everything, you are still here, still listening, still searching for me, still holding on to even the smallest flicker of hope. And that flicker is enough for me to reignite the fire again. That is why Hebrews 10:38 says, "The righteous shall live by faith," not by visible proof, not by temporary emotions, not by the current season, by faith. And your faith is not dead, my child. It is wounded, it is tired, but it is still alive. And I am breathing strength into it again even now. So do not fear the waiting season anymore. Do not fear the silence anymore. Do not fear the delays anymore. Because what felt like endless emptiness was actually preparation for something far deeper than you realize. But stay with me carefully now, because the next truth I reveal will uncover why some delays were actually protecting you from destruction you could not yet see. And once you understand this, you will stop viewing every closed door as rejection. Type 1. Still trust you, God, if your faith is still alive. My beloved child, breathe deeply and listen carefully now, because this next truth will change the way you see your entire journey. You believed the closed doors meant rejection. You believed the delays meant failure. You believed the silence meant I was distant. But what if I told you that some of the greatest acts of my love toward you happened through the very things I refused to allow? What if the delay that frustrated you was actually protection surrounding you? My child, there are many things you cried over losing that would have eventually wounded you far more deeply if they had remained. I know you do not fully understand that yet, because pain makes people focus on what disappeared instead of what they were quietly rescued from. You cried over relationships that ended. You mourned opportunities that collapsed. You questioned why certain doors suddenly closed without explanation. And for a long time, you thought those moments proved something was wrong with you. But hear me carefully now. Not every closed door is punishment. Some closed doors are rescue. Some unanswered prayers are mercy. Some delays are my hand shielding you from destruction you cannot yet see. I need you to understand this deeply. You only see moments, I see outcomes. You only see the beginning of a path. I see where every road eventually leads. And there were places you desperately wanted to go that would have slowly destroyed your peace, your identity, your spirit, and your future. But because you could not yet see the hidden danger, the closed door felt cruel instead of protective. My beloved child, there are people you begged me to keep in your life who secretly carried envy in their hearts toward you. People who smiled in front of you while quietly draining your spirit behind your back. People who would have celebrated your weakness more than your healing. And if I had allowed them to remain beside you longer, The damage would have reached places inside you that were already fragile. So I removed them, not because I wanted you lonely, but because I wanted you whole. There were opportunities you thought were breakthroughs that actually carried hidden bondage attached to them. Successes that looked beautiful outwardly, but would have destroyed your peace inwardly. Doors that appeared golden while hiding chains behind them. And because you only saw the excitement of the moment, you mistook my protection for rejection. But my child, I was guarding your future the entire time. Do not skip this. This next part matters deeply. You have asked me many times, why does everything take so long? And sometimes the answer is simple, because I refuse to place blessings into wounded hands before healing the wounds. Because if I gave you everything too early, you would have carried abundance with a fearful heart. You would have entered success while still secretly believing you were unworthy. You would have stepped into relationships while still expecting abandonment. You would have received opportunities while still carrying hidden self-doubt strong enough to sabotage them. And eventually, the blessing itself would have become another source of pain. But I never intended blessings to destroy you. That is why I slowed certain things down, not to punish you, to prepare you, to strengthen you, to heal you in places no one else could see. My beloved child, some of the delays you hated most were actually seasons, where I was saving you from becoming emotionally crushed under the weight of things you were not yet ready to carry. Because blessings require maturity, favor requires stability, and open doors require discernment. Many people ask me for elevation while still emotionally attached to things that would destroy them once they rise. But I love you too deeply to answer prayers carelessly. I see the full picture. I see the hidden traps. I see the motives of people around you. I see the spiritual attacks that your eyes cannot detect. And there were moments when delaying your breakthrough was the very thing protecting your soul. You thought heaven was silent, but heaven was actively rearranging your future, removing hidden dangers, breaking unhealthy attachments, closing paths that would have eventually broken your heart in ways you could not survive at your current strength. I know the waiting hurt you. I know the uncertainty exhausted you. I know the silence sometimes made you question whether I still cared. But my child, I was never absent. I was standing guard over your destiny. That is why Psalm 121:7 says, "The Lord will keep you from all harm." Not some harm, all harm, even the dangers you never recognized. Even the heartbreaks you thought you wanted, even the opportunities that looked perfect outwardly while secretly carrying destruction inside them. My beloved child, there are storms you never saw because I stopped them before they reached you. There are betrayals you never fully experienced because I removed certain people early. There are disasters you cried over at first that later became the very things you thanked me for protecting you from. But at the time, you could not understand, because wounded hearts often interpret delay as abandonment, and tired souls often mistake silence for rejection. Yet I was loving you even through the waiting, protecting you even through the confusion, guiding you even when the road ahead looked completely unclear. Listen carefully now. One of the greatest dangers is receiving something before your spirit is healed enough to sustain it. That is why some people receive blessing, then lose themselves inside it. Some receive success, then become consumed by pride. Some receive relationships, then destroy them through unresolved fear. Some receive abundance, yet remain emotionally empty because their identity was never healed first. But I am building something deeper inside you. Not temporary excitement, lasting stability, lasting wisdom, lasting peace. Because what I am preparing for you is not meant to disappear quickly. It is meant to remain, and that requires transformation. My beloved child, there were times you begged me to speed up the process. But if I had answered too quickly, you would have walked into places emotionally unprepared. You would have trusted people too easily. You would have attached yourself to things that only looked like blessings temporarily. You would have mistaken counterfeit opportunities for divine favor. But I was teaching you discernment through the waiting, teaching you patience through the silence, teaching you wisdom through disappointment. And although the lessons felt painful, they were shaping your spirit for something far greater than temporary relief. I know you grew tired. I know some days you wanted immediate answers more than growth. But growth was the real miracle happening beneath the surface all along. Because I am not merely trying to improve your circumstances, I am rebuilding you entirely, your mind, your confidence, your discernment, your emotional stability, your ability to carry greater things without collapsing under their weight. That is why the process became longer than you expected. Because I care more about protecting your destiny than satisfying temporary emotions. And one day soon, my beloved child, you will look back at certain delays and finally understand why I said not yet. You will see how many dangers were hidden behind doors you once cried over. You will understand why certain people disappeared. You will recognize how much emotional healing needed to happen before the blessing could safely arrive. And instead of bitterness, gratitude will fill your heart, because you will finally see that even in silence, I was protecting you. Even in delay, I was loving you. Even in closed doors, I was guiding you. My beloved child, trust me now more than ever, because the waiting season is almost revealing its purpose. And soon, the things that once confused you will begin making sense. But stay with me carefully now, because the next truth I reveal will uncover something even deeper. Why certain battles around your life did not begin with you alone, but were connected to cycles that existed long before you were born. And once you understand this, you will finally realize why the warfare around your destiny felt so heavy for so many years. Comment, God was protecting me if you believe the delay had a purpose. My beloved child, stay with me carefully now, because this next truth reaches deeper than your present struggles, deeper than your current delays, deeper than the disappointments you can remember. There are battles surrounding your life that did not begin with you. And for years, you sensed this without fully understanding it. You looked at your life and quietly wondered, why does it feel like I'm fighting something older than myself? Why do certain cycles keep repeating no matter how hard you try to escape them? Why does breakthrough seem to come close, yet somehow never fully arrive? Why do exhaustion, limitation, fear, rejection, and struggle seem to follow certain bloodlines generation after generation? My child, you are not imagining it. There are spiritual weights many people inherit without ever realizing it. Invisible patterns, invisible fears, invisible cycles. And often the people carrying them blame themselves their entire lives without understanding the deeper battle taking place underneath the surface. I know how often you questioned yourself. You wondered if you simply lacked discipline, lacked intelligence, lacked favor, lacked worth. But hear me clearly now. Some battles were never entirely personal failures. Some struggles were connected to patterns that existed long before you were born. Patterns of fear, patterns of poverty, patterns of rejection, patterns of emotional pain, patterns of broken identity. And because no one before you fully healed them, they quietly passed from generation to generation like invisible chains. My beloved child, there are families where disappointment becomes normal. Families where survival replaces peace. Families where emotional wounds remain hidden for decades. Families where people stop expecting true breakthrough because struggle has become familiar. And without realizing it, many children grow up inside atmospheres shaped by limitation long before they even understand what is happening around them. Some inherit fear, some inherit shame, some inherit emotional instability, some inherit deep beliefs that they will never truly succeed no matter how hard they try. And these hidden patterns quietly shape the way they see themselves and the world around them. That is why you sometimes felt exhausted before your life had even fully begun. That is why your spirit carried heaviness even in seasons when nothing visibly terrible was happening. That is why fear sometimes appeared without explanation, because invisible burdens were already pressing against your identity from an early age. But listen carefully now. You are not condemned to repeat every cycle you inherited. You are not required to remain trapped inside every pattern that surrounded your upbringing. And you are certainly not forgotten simply because the battles around you became heavy. My child, I chose you because you were strong enough to break cycles others before you could not break. That is why your warfare intensified. That is why your journey felt heavier than many people around you. Because generational cycles resist being broken. And whenever someone begins awakening enough to end those patterns, the battle around their life becomes fierce. Do not skip this. This next part matters deeply. You thought your exhaustion meant weakness, but often it came from fighting battles older than your own memories. There were moments when you felt emotions that seemed larger than the situation itself. Fear that appeared suddenly, discouragement that felt unusually heavy, a deep sense of limitation you could not logically explain. And because you did not understand the root of those feelings, you blamed yourself. But my beloved child, some roots grow deep beneath the surface before they ever become visible above the ground. And I have been working carefully at the root of your healing, not merely changing temporary circumstances, but confronting hidden patterns that have followed your bloodline for years. This is why your process became so deep. Because I am not only healing you, I am healing what tried to flow through generations before you. That is why the enemy fought so hard to keep you discouraged. Because once one person in a family fully awakens, everything after them begins changing. The atmosphere shifts, the patterns weaken, the chains begin breaking, and future generations no longer have to carry the same darkness. My child, you were never as small as you believed. The battle became intense because your breakthrough carries impact far beyond yourself. Heaven sees generations connected to your healing, generations connected to your obedience, generations connected to your awakening. And the enemy understood this long before you did. That is why it attacked your confidence so heavily. That is why it tried exhausting your faith early. That is why it tried convincing you to give up before you fully understood who you are. Because if you remain trapped, the cycles remain alive. But if you awaken, the chains begin collapsing. My beloved child, many people inherit pain and quietly accept it as destiny. They believe struggle is simply who they are. They believe limitation is normal. They believe peace belongs to other people, but not to them. And eventually they stop fighting for freedom altogether. But I never called you to surrender to darkness. I never created you to remain bound by cycles that wounded those before you. I created you for freedom, for restoration, for authority, for healing. That is why Galatians 3:13 says, Christ redeemed us from the curse. Redeemed. Not partially, not temporarily, completely. You are not chained forever to every battle attached to your bloodline. And even though the process of breaking cycles feels exhausting sometimes, freedom is already beginning inside you. My beloved child, one reason the process became painful is because healing hidden roots always requires exposure first, and exposure feels uncomfortable. It forces you to confront patterns you once normalized, patterns of fear, patterns of self-rejection, patterns of emotional survival, patterns of settling for less because disappointment taught you not to expect more. But now your eyes are opening. You are beginning to recognize the invisible agreements your heart unknowingly made with limitation. You are beginning to see where fear shaped your decisions, where rejection shaped your identity, where emotional exhaustion shaped your expectations. And awareness is the beginning of freedom, because once darkness is exposed, it begins losing power. That is why your awakening matters so much. The enemy wanted you asleep emotionally, numb spiritually, hopeless mentally, because numb people stop resisting cycles. But you are waking up now. You are beginning to understand that your struggle was never random. And once understanding comes, authority follows. My beloved child, I know there were moments when you questioned why life felt unfair. Moments when you wondered why others seemed to move forward easily, while your path felt constantly resisted. But your process carries greater depth than you currently realize. Because I am not simply building temporary success in your life. I am rebuilding foundations. Foundations damaged long before you arrived. Foundations weakened through years of fear, silence, pain, and broken identity. And when foundations are being rebuilt, the process takes time. But lasting freedom is worth the process. Do not fear the heaviness you once carried. It will not define your ending. Do not fear the cycles you witnessed growing up. They do not own your future anymore. Do not fear the battles surrounding your name. My power is greater than every chain attached to your past. That is why Isaiah 59:1 says, "Surely the arm of the Lord is not too short to save. There is no cycle too deep for me, no darkness too old for me, no pattern too strong for me, and no wounded bloodline beyond my ability to restore." My beloved child, your life is becoming a turning point. What tried to bury previous generations will not bury you. What tried to silence previous generations will not silence you. What tried to limit previous generations will not define your future. Because I am raising you differently, healing you differently, awakening you differently. And although the battle around your life felt unusually intense, it was because your destiny carries unusual authority. But stay with me carefully now, because the next truth I reveal will explain why exhaustion became one of the enemy's strongest weapons against you. And once you understand this, you will finally stop mistaking your weariness for weakness. Type 1. Break the cycle. If you believe your bloodline is changing, my beloved child, I need you to hear this part with your heart, not only your mind. Because for a very long time, you misunderstood your exhaustion. You thought your weariness meant weakness. You thought your heaviness meant failure. You blamed yourself for feeling emotionally drained, even after trying so hard to stay strong. But what if I told you that your exhaustion was never proof that you were weak? What if the tiredness you carry came from fighting invisible battles for far longer than anyone around you realizes? My child, there is a kind of fatigue that sleep cannot heal. A deep soul exhaustion. The kind that forms after years of silent survival, years of carrying emotional pressure without fully understanding where it was coming from, years of staying strong for everyone else while secretly falling apart inside. I saw every moment. I saw how often you forced yourself to keep going, even when your spirit felt empty. I saw you smiling while your mind quietly screamed for rest. I saw you pretending you were okay because you did not want anyone to worry. And I know there were moments when you felt guilty for being tired at all. You compared yourself to others. You wondered why simple things felt so heavy for you. You questioned why your motivation disappeared so quickly, why your peace vanished so easily, why fear exhausted you even on calm days. But my beloved child, you were carrying far more than you realized. You were fighting emotional warfare daily, invisible pressure, invisible fear, invisible discouragement, invisible resistance constantly pushing against your spirit. And because no one else could physically see it, you started believing maybe the problem was simply you. But hear me clearly now. You are not weak because you became tired. Even strong souls become exhausted after prolonged battles. Even faithful hearts grow weary after carrying invisible burdens too long. Even warriors need healing after surviving years of spiritual conflict. Do not skip this. This next truth matters deeply. One of the enemy's greatest strategies against you was exhaustion. Because exhausted people struggle to see clearly. Exhausted people struggle to hope consistently. Exhausted people stop expecting breakthrough because survival consumes all their emotional energy. That is why the attacks against your life often came slowly instead of suddenly. A little disappointment here, a little fear there, Another delay, another rejection, another heartbreak, another silent struggle. And over time, the pressure accumulated quietly until your soul became deeply tired. This is how many people lose their fire. Not through one catastrophic moment, but through prolonged emotional depletion. The enemy hoped exhaustion would eventually convince you to stop fighting for your future, to stop believing restoration was possible, to stop expecting your life to truly change. But my beloved child, despite everything, you are still here, still listening, still searching for me, still holding on to even the smallest flicker of hope. And that alone proves something powerful about your spirit, because weaker people would have surrendered long ago. Yet somehow, even through exhaustion, you kept moving forward, sometimes crawling emotionally, but still moving, sometimes crying quietly, but still breathing, sometimes confused, but still reaching for me. And I need you to understand this deeply now. I am proud of you for surviving seasons you thought would destroy you. I saw the strength it took just to wake up some mornings. I saw the courage it took to keep functioning while internally exhausted. I saw how hard you fought battles nobody around you even knew existed. And my child, I never overlooked your endurance, not once. But now I need you to stop treating yourself like a machine. You were never created to carry endless pressure without rest. You were never designed to survive permanently in fight or flight mode. You were never meant to live constantly waiting for the next disappointment. That is why your soul became weary. Because your heart has been carrying burdens I never asked you to carry alone. Fear, pressure, future anxiety, emotional survival, the weight of trying to stay strong for too long, and slowly your nervous system learned to remain alert constantly. Even during peaceful moments, part of you still waited for something bad to happen. That is what prolonged warfare does to a person. It trains them to expect danger even in calm seasons. It makes rest feel unfamiliar. It makes peace feel temporary. It makes joy feel fragile. But I am restoring your inner peace now. I am teaching your spirit safety again. I am teaching your heart how to breathe again. Because exhaustion was never supposed to become your identity. My beloved child, I know there were moments when you secretly asked, why am I so tired all the time? And sometimes the answer was not physical, it was spiritual. You were carrying emotional heaviness beyond what your soul was designed to sustain alone. You absorbed other people's pain. You carried your family's burdens. You carried fear about the future. You carried wounds from the past. You carried disappointment from prayers that seemed unanswered. And all of it slowly drained your strength, but hear me now. You do not have to carry all of this alone anymore. That is why Exodus 14:14 says, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only be still." Stillness is not weakness. Rest is not failure. Pausing does not mean you are falling behind. Sometimes the strongest thing a wounded soul can do is stop striving long enough to let me heal what exhaustion damaged. Because exhausted people often become harsh toward themselves. They blame themselves for slowing down. They feel guilty for needing rest. They criticize themselves for not functioning perfectly. But my child, you cannot heal while constantly attacking yourself. You cannot recover while continuously demanding more from an already exhausted soul. That is why I am teaching you gentleness now. Gentleness toward your heart. Gentleness toward your process. Gentleness toward the healing journey you are still walking through. You survived things that deeply impacted your spirit, and survival leaves scars. But scars do not mean you are broken forever. Healing is already happening even now, quietly, deeply, slowly. And although you cannot fully feel it yet, your spirit is becoming stronger again beneath the surface. The enemy wanted exhaustion to bury your destiny. But instead, your survival became proof that my hand remained upon your life all along. Because despite the warfare, you did not disappear. Despite the heaviness, you are still standing. Despite the delays, your heart still longs for me. And that longing is sacred. My beloved child, there is something important you must understand now. Your exhaustion distorted your vision for a while. Tired souls often see life through fear instead of clarity. When people become emotionally depleted, they begin believing the current season will last forever. But exhaustion lies. It tells you nothing will improve. It tells you healing is impossible. It tells you your future will always feel this heavy. But those whispers are not truth. They are symptoms of prolonged weariness. And I am removing that heaviness little by little now. Strength is returning to you. Hope is returning to you. Clarity is returning to you. Not all at once, but steadily, quietly, deeply, because I restore souls carefully. My beloved child, you are entering a season where peace will begin replacing survival mode, where rest will begin replacing fear, where confidence will begin replacing constant emotional tension. And one day soon, you will look back and realize something incredible. The very exhaustion that almost broke you became the place where I taught you dependence on me deeper than ever before. Because tired souls finally learn what self-sufficiency never could, that they truly need me. And my child, I have never abandoned those who lean on me fully. So do not fear your weariness anymore. Do not condemn yourself for being tired. Do not mistake your exhaustion for weakness. You have simply been fighting battles larger than people realized. But the battle is shifting now, and strength is returning to your spirit again. But stay with me carefully now, because the next truth I reveal will uncover why the false labels spoken over your life became one of the deepest weapons used against your destiny. And once you understand this, you will stop agreeing with the lies that tried to define you. Type, God is restoring me if you believe strength is returning to your spirit. My beloved child, listen carefully now, because one of the deepest battles in your life was never truly about money, relationships, or opportunities. It was about the labels attached to your identity, the silent names you slowly accepted about yourself after years of pain. The hidden words you repeated inwardly without realizing how much power they carried. Words like not enough, too broken, too late, unworthy, forgettable, always behind. And after hearing disappointment speak loudly for so long, those labels slowly became part of the way you viewed yourself. I saw how rejection changed your inner voice. At first, pain only hurt your emotions. But over time, it started shaping your identity. You stopped introducing yourself through possibility and started introducing yourself through wounds. You became cautious about dreaming, cautious about hoping, cautious about trusting good things, because somewhere deep inside, you feared disappointment more than you expected blessing. My beloved child, the enemy understood something dangerous long before you did. If it could change the way you saw yourself, it could change the way you approached your future. Because people move in the direction of the identity they believe they carry. If someone believes they are unworthy, they unconsciously reject opportunities. If someone believes they are destined to fail, they stop trying fully. If someone believes they are unwanted, they push away love before it can truly reach them. That is why the battle around your identity became so intense. The enemy never only wanted to delay your breakthrough, it wanted you to agree with limitation. It wanted you to speak against yourself. It wanted you to become the voice repeating the lies spoken over your destiny. And my child, many times you unknowingly did exactly that. You condemned yourself before others even had the chance. You replayed old failures repeatedly inside your mind. You spoke about yourself through disappointment instead of promise. You expected collapse before progress even had time to grow, not because you were evil, not because you lacked faith completely, but because wounded hearts often adapt to pain by lowering expectation. Do not skip this. This next truth matters deeply. The enemy understands the power of agreement. That is why it works so hard to make you emotionally agree with lies, Because once a person believes something deeply enough, their entire life begins shaping itself around that belief. And slowly, without realizing it, you began shrinking yourself emotionally. You stopped believing you deserved healthy love, stopped believing lasting peace was possible, stopped believing abundance could remain in your life, stopped believing your future could truly become different from your past. And the saddest part was this: you no longer recognized how harshly you spoke to yourself. You became used to self-condemnation, used to minimizing your worth, used to dismissing your own value, used to preparing for disappointment. But my beloved child, I never spoke about you the way fear spoke about you. I never defined you by your failures. I never reduced your identity to your wounds. I never called you forgotten. I never called you damaged beyond repair. I never called you unwanted. Those names were created through pain, not through heaven. My child, there are people who have carried false labels for so long that they no longer remember who they truly are. And because they believe those labels deeply, they live far beneath the life I prepared for them. Some believe they are permanently broken. Some believe they are cursed to repeat failure forever. Some believe they are too damaged to receive healthy love. Some believe they are too weak to carry purpose. And eventually, those lies shape their entire future. That is why Proverbs 23:7 says, "As a man thinks in his heart, so is he." Your inner beliefs shape your outer life. That is why I am healing your identity at the root. Because if your heart still secretly believes you are unworthy, you will struggle to keep the blessings I send. You will sabotage healthy things before they fully grow. You will hesitate before entering the doors I open. You will pull away from opportunities because fear whispers that you will eventually fail anyway. But my beloved child, I am teaching you to see yourself through my eyes again, not through rejection, not through disappointment, not through your past, through my love. Listen carefully now. There were moments when people spoke words over you that pierced deeper than they realized. Moments where criticism settled inside your spirit. Moments where rejection became internalized. Moments where humiliation quietly changed the way you viewed yourself. And although years passed afterward, part of your soul still carried those wounds silently. But hear me now. People do not have authority to define who you are. Pain does not have authority to rename you. Your failures do not have authority to rewrite your destiny. I alone determine your true identity. And I never called you worthless. I called you mine. That is why John 1:12 says, "To all who received him, he gave the right to become children of God." Children, not abandoned strangers, not tolerated outsiders. Children, do you understand how deeply loved you are? Even now, while you still struggle with fear sometimes, you remain deeply loved. Even while healing feels slow, you remain chosen. Even while exhaustion still lingers, your identity in me remains untouched. My beloved child, one reason the enemy attacked your confidence so heavily is because confidence rooted in me carries authority. A healed identity terrifies darkness because people who truly know who they are stop living like prisoners. They stop apologizing for existing. They stop shrinking themselves emotionally. They stop begging fear for permission to move forward. And once someone fully awakens to their identity, spiritual chains begin collapsing rapidly. That is why so much warfare targeted your self-worth. The enemy wanted your own mouth to continue speaking defeat over your future, because words carry spiritual weight. That is why James 3:10 warns, "Out of the same mouth come blessing and cursing." My child, you cannot continually curse yourself inwardly while expecting peace to flourish fully. You cannot constantly agree with fear while expecting confidence to grow. You cannot repeatedly define yourself through failure while expecting your spirit to walk boldly into purpose. That is why I am healing the language of your heart now, teaching you to speak differently, teaching you to see yourself differently, teaching you to stop partnering with the lies that wounded your identity. My beloved child, I know this process feels unfamiliar sometimes because pain taught you survival for so long. But survival is not your destiny anymore. Healing is, freedom is, restoration is, and your true identity is finally beginning to rise above the false labels attached to your pain. Soon you will stop introducing yourself through wounds. Soon you will stop expecting abandonment everywhere you go. Soon you will stop shrinking your dreams because fear told you not to hope too much. Because your spirit is awakening again. Your confidence is returning again. Your identity is being restored again. Not through human approval, not through perfect circumstances, but through my voice. And my voice has never called you forgotten. I call you chosen. I call you loved. I call you redeemed. I call you mine. My beloved child, the false labels are breaking now. The shame is breaking now. The fear is breaking now. And even though you cannot fully feel it yet, you are already beginning to think differently about yourself. That is how restoration begins. Quietly, deeply, at the root. But stay with me carefully now, because the next truth I reveal will uncover why some doors had to close before your true future could finally open. And once you understand this, you will stop grieving certain endings the same way forever. Comment "I am chosen" if you refuse to believe the lies anymore. My beloved child, there are some endings you still grieve because you never understood why they happened. Some doors closed so suddenly that they left confusion sitting inside your spirit for years. You prayed, you trusted, you believed certain things would finally work out. But instead, the relationship ended, the opportunity disappeared, the plans collapsed. And afterward, you sat in silence wondering why everything you touched seemed to fall apart. I know how deeply those moments wounded you. Because some losses did not only break your plans, they broke your confidence. You began questioning yourself afterward, questioning your value, questioning your future, questioning whether I was truly guiding your life at all. But my beloved child, hear me carefully now. Some doors closed because they were never meant to carry your future. Some endings were not punishment, they were protection. And one day soon, you will thank me for prayers I refuse to answer. I know that is difficult for you to understand right now, because human hearts naturally mourn what they cannot fully explain. When something disappears suddenly, people often assume they failed. When a door closes unexpectedly, they assume they were rejected. When a relationship ends painfully, they assume they were unworthy of love. But many times, my child, what felt like rejection was actually redirection. You were grieving the loss of what you wanted, while I was protecting you from what would have eventually destroyed your peace. Do not skip this. This next truth matters deeply. You only saw the version of people they allowed you to see. But I saw every hidden motive, every hidden intention, every hidden spirit operating behind their words. I saw who truly celebrated your growth and who secretly preferred your weakness. I saw who genuinely loved you and who only loved the version of you that remained emotionally small. I saw the connections that looked comforting outwardly while quietly draining your spirit inwardly. And because you could not yet fully discern those things, you cried when certain people disappeared. But my beloved child, some people had to leave because they could not follow you into the future I prepared for you. Some relationships ended because they were connected to old versions of you that I was healing out of existence. Some doors closed because your next season required a different atmosphere, different thinking, different alignment, different people. That is why the separation hurt so deeply, because part of your old identity was attached to those places and people. And whenever healing begins, unhealthy attachments resist being broken. My beloved child, there were opportunities you believed would finally solve your problems. Opportunities that looked exciting, promising, impressive. But behind some of those doors were hidden traps your current discernment could not yet recognize. Situations that would have exhausted your spirit. People who would have manipulated your kindness. Environments that would have slowly destroyed your peace. Successes that looked beautiful publicly while privately leading you into emptiness. And because you only saw immediate relief, you mistook closed doors for abandonment. But I was protecting you from outcomes your heart was not prepared to survive. My child, some of the things you called delays were actually divine interruptions. Interruptions designed to keep you from stepping into places that would have deeply wounded your destiny. Because not every open door comes from me, and not every closed door is an attack. Sometimes my love appears as prevention. Sometimes my mercy appears as interruption. Sometimes my protection appears as silence. And many people misunderstand me during those seasons because they only measure blessing through immediate comfort. But I see beyond temporary emotions. I see outcomes years ahead that your eyes cannot yet detect. That is why Psalm 121:7 says, "The Lord will keep you from all harm." Even the harm disguised as opportunity, even the harm disguised as love, even the harm disguised as success. My beloved child, there are people who would have celebrated your downfall if I had allowed them to remain close longer. People who secretly benefited from your insecurity. People who preferred you emotionally dependent. People who enjoyed your presence but feared your growth. And because your heart still longed for acceptance, you ignored warning signs you felt deep inside your spirit. But I did not ignore them. I saw every hidden danger surrounding you. That is why certain relationships suddenly became uncomfortable. That is why some connections became difficult to maintain. That is why you felt strange uneasiness in environments where you once felt comfortable. Your spirit was beginning to awaken before your mind fully understood what was happening, because healing changes your discernment. And once your spirit begins waking up, you can no longer remain peacefully connected to things that quietly drain your soul. My beloved child, one reason certain endings hurt so much is because you attached your future to them emotionally. You believed, if this relationship works, then my life will finally improve. If this opportunity succeeds, then I will finally feel secure. If this door opens, then everything will finally change. But when those things disappeared, your sense of safety disappeared with them, and suddenly you felt lost again. Not because your destiny vanished, but because your hope had become attached to temporary things instead of me. I needed you to learn something deeper. People are not your savior. Opportunities are not your source. Temporary circumstances are not your identity. I alone remain constant when everything else shifts. And until your heart fully understands this, fear will continue controlling your peace. That is why I allowed certain foundations to shake, not to destroy you, but to reveal what your soul was depending on too heavily. My beloved child, some closed doors were teaching you not to build your entire identity around things that can disappear overnight. Because if your peace depends completely on people, their absence will destroy you. If your confidence depends completely on success, failure will crush you. If your identity depends completely on external stability, every storm will emotionally dismantle you. But I am building something stronger inside you now. A peace rooted deeper than circumstances. A confidence rooted deeper than human approval. An identity rooted deeper than temporary outcomes. That is why the shaking became necessary. Because unstable foundations cannot carry lasting blessings. Do not fear the endings anymore. Do not fear the closed doors anymore. Do not fear the relationships that disappeared anymore. What I remove from your life is never less important than what I bring into it. And some losses were actually acts of rescue. My beloved child, one day you will look back and realize how many disasters you narrowly escaped without fully realizing it at the time. You will understand why certain paths collapsed unexpectedly. You will recognize why certain people suddenly vanished. You will finally see how much protection existed inside the disappointment. And instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" you will quietly whisper, "Thank you for saving me from what I could not yet see." Because your life is not falling apart. It is being redirected. Your future is not being destroyed. It is being refined. And although the process felt painful, it was positioning you for something far healthier than what you were grieving. My beloved child, stop mourning doors I intentionally closed. Stop begging to re-enter seasons I delivered you from. Stop romanticizing places where your spirit slowly lost its peace. You are moving forward now, not backward, and the future I am preparing for you carries more peace than confusion, more clarity than chaos, more healing than survival, more alignment than emotional struggle. That is why I had to separate you from certain environments before your next season could begin, because destiny cannot fully bloom inside atmospheres that constantly suffocate your spirit. My beloved child, trust me now more than ever. Even when you do not fully understand the process, even when the endings still hurt sometimes, even when the silence still feels confusing, because what I closed could not compare to what I am preparing to open. But stay with me carefully now, because the next truth I reveal will uncover why transformation always comes before true breakthrough. And once you understand this, you will stop measuring your progress only through visible results. Comment, "God redirected me," if you believe the closed doors were protection. My beloved child, listen carefully now, because this next truth explains why your process became deeper than you expected. You kept asking me for breakthrough, for provision, for open doors, for relief from the pressure you have carried for so long, and I heard every prayer. But what you did not fully realize was this: while you were asking me to change your circumstances, I was first transforming you. Because true breakthrough is not only about what enters your hands, it is about who you become before it arrives. My child, many people ask for blessing while remaining emotionally unprepared to carry it. They pray for elevation while still chained to fear. They pray for abundance while still thinking like survivors. They pray for healthy love while still believing they are unworthy of being loved. And when blessing finally appears, their wounded identity destroys what heaven tried to build. That is why I slowed certain things down in your life. Not because I wanted you to suffer, but because I wanted the breakthrough to heal you, not crush you. Do not skip this. This next part matters deeply. You thought the delay meant nothing was happening, but transformation was happening every single day beneath the surface. Quietly, deeply, slowly, I was strengthening your discernment, healing your identity, exposing your hidden fears, breaking unhealthy attachments, teaching your spirit dependence on me instead of temporary things. And although the process felt painful, it was preparing you for a future your old self could not sustain. My beloved child, there are blessings that require maturity before they can safely arrive. Because not every open door is easy to carry. Some blessings test people more than struggles ever did. Some opportunities expose unresolved wounds hidden beneath confidence. Some seasons of abundance reveal weaknesses that hardship kept hidden. That is why many people collapse after success. Because external elevation without internal transformation eventually destroys peace. But I love you too deeply to allow your future to destroy you. So before the breakthrough, I began transforming your heart. I know you became frustrated sometimes. You asked, "Why is this taking so long? Why do I still feel stuck? Why does healing feel slower than I expected?" But my child, roots always grow silently before fruit appears visibly, and I have been rebuilding your roots. Roots of confidence, roots of peace, roots of wisdom, roots of emotional stability. Roots deep enough to survive future storms without collapsing again. Because temporary excitement is not enough for the destiny I prepared for you. You need stability, discernment, spiritual maturity, inner peace strong enough to remain steady even when circumstances shift. That is what I have been building inside you all along. My beloved child, there were things hidden within your heart that you did not even realize were controlling you. Fear of abandonment, fear of failure, fear of disappointment, fear of being seen, fear of being rejected again. And many times those fears quietly shaped your decisions more than you realized. That is why I allowed certain seasons of exposure, not to shame you, but to reveal what still needed healing before your next level could safely begin. Because hidden wounds eventually surface under pressure. And if I elevated you too quickly before healing those places, the pressure of your next season would have overwhelmed you emotionally. But I am not building something temporary in your life. I am building something lasting. That is why the process required depth. Listen carefully now. One reason the enemy fought your transformation so aggressively is because healed people become dangerous to darkness. Once a person no longer lives controlled by fear, their decisions change. Once a person stops agreeing with shame, their confidence changes. Once a person heals emotionally, their discernment sharpens. Their standards rise, their peace deepens, their authority strengthens, and suddenly the cycles that once controlled them begin losing power completely. That is why the battle intensified whenever healing began inside you. The enemy feared your transformation more than your temporary success, because healed people stop returning to what once destroyed them. Healed people stop chasing unhealthy love, stop settling for emotional survival, stop shrinking themselves to remain accepted, stop agreeing with lies about their identity. And my beloved child, you are becoming one of those people now, even if you do not fully recognize it yet. That is why certain things no longer feel comfortable the way they once did. Your spirit is changing, your discernment is growing, your standards are rising. Your soul is beginning to crave peace more than chaos, and that transformation matters more than you currently realize. My beloved child, many people only ask me to remove pain, but few ask me to transform the parts of themselves that pain exposed. That is why some cycles repeat endlessly, because the external circumstances change, while the internal wounds remain untouched. But your process became different, because I was not merely removing obstacles around you. I was healing the person walking through them. That is why your growth became uncomfortable sometimes. Growth always stretches the places where fear once lived. Growth forces people to confront old beliefs, old wounds, old survival patterns, old versions of themselves they secretly outgrew long ago. And although that process feels emotionally exhausting at times, it is producing something beautiful inside you. A stronger spirit, a clearer mind, a steadier heart, a healthier identity, a deeper dependence on me. My beloved child, you thought breakthrough meant your circumstances changing instantly. But true breakthrough began the moment your thinking started changing, the moment you stopped agreeing with hopelessness, the moment you stopped defining yourself through pain, the moment you started recognizing your worth again, the moment your spirit began awakening from survival mode. That was the beginning of transformation. And transformation is the foundation upon which lasting blessing is built. That is why Proverbs 10:22 says, "The blessing of the Lord brings wealth without painful toil for it." Notice this carefully. Blessing without sorrow, not blessing mixed with destruction, not blessing mixed with emotional collapse, not blessing mixed with hidden bondage. I never intended your future to become another source of pain. That is why healing had to happen first, my beloved child. I know there were moments when you became impatient with your own process, moments when you wished healing would happen faster, moments when you compared your timeline to others around you. But your journey carries depth that cannot be rushed, because I am not merely improving your life temporarily. I am rebuilding you from the inside out, and the rebuilding of a soul requires patience. There were mindsets that needed breaking, fear patterns that needed exposing, emotional wounds that needed healing, false identities that needed removing. And all of it was necessary before the fullness of your next season could safely arrive. That is why I never abandoned you during the process. Even when you felt confused, even when progress felt invisible, even when exhaustion made you question yourself, I remained there, quietly rebuilding your foundations, because foundations determine how high a life can rise without collapsing. And your future requires stronger foundations than you currently realize. My beloved child, do not fear the process anymore. Do not fear the waiting anymore. Do not fear the transformation happening inside you, because the very things you thought were delaying your breakthrough were actually preparing you to sustain it. And soon you will begin noticing something beautiful. The things that once controlled you emotionally will no longer have the same power over you. Fear will weaken, discouragement will loosen, old wounds will stop defining your identity, and peace will begin feeling more natural than survival mode. That is how you will know transformation is truly happening, not merely because circumstances changed, but because you changed. And once inner transformation fully aligns with outer opportunity, breakthrough becomes unavoidable. My beloved child, your season is shifting. The rebuilding is almost complete. And what I am preparing to release into your life will not only bless you temporarily, it will establish you differently. But stay with me carefully now, because the next truth I reveal will uncover why many people lose their blessing after receiving it, and why protecting your heart after breakthrough matters more than you currently understand. Comment God is transforming me if you believe your healing has a purpose. My beloved child, listen carefully now, because this next truth is one of the most delicate parts of your journey. Many people think the greatest danger happens before the breakthrough arrives, but often the most dangerous moment comes after the blessing finally appears, after the prayers are answered, after the doors open, after the waiting season ends, because not everyone knows how to carry blessing without losing themselves inside it. And this is why I spent so long transforming your heart before releasing certain things into your life. I was not delaying your future. I was protecting your soul from destruction disguised as success. My beloved child, there are people who prayed for abundance their entire lives, then became consumed by fear once it arrived. People who prayed for love, then sabotaged healthy relationships because their wounds were never healed. People who prayed for influence, then lost their peace trying to maintain human approval. People who cried for breakthrough, then drifted far from me after finally receiving it. And the saddest part is this: many people survive hardship, but are destroyed by the blessing they were not spiritually prepared to carry. Do not skip this. This next part matters deeply. The enemy understands something many people never realize. If it cannot stop your blessing from arriving, it will try to corrupt your heart after you receive it, because wounded people often misuse what they prayed for. Fear distorts blessing. Pride distorts blessing. Unhealed insecurity distorts blessing. That is why transformation had to happen before elevation, because what I am bringing into your life requires maturity to sustain it. My beloved child, some people lose themselves after breakthrough because they secretly believed the blessing would heal everything inside them automatically. They believed money would erase emptiness. They believed success would remove insecurity. They believed relationships would heal rejection. They believed external change would automatically create internal peace. But external blessing can never fully heal internal wounds. Only my presence can do that. That is why I focused so deeply on your identity before your breakthrough. Because if your soul still believes fear more than truth, even abundance will not bring peace. If your heart still carries hidden self-rejection, even love will feel unsafe. If your spirit still depends on external validation, success will eventually exhaust you emotionally. That is why I allowed healing to go deeper than you expected. I was not merely preparing your future, I was protecting your heart from what success can awaken inside wounded people. My beloved child, I know there were moments when you became impatient with the process. Moments when you wanted immediate answers more than transformation. But now you are beginning to understand why I moved carefully. Because the blessing I prepare for you is not meant to become another burden. It is meant to establish peace, and peace cannot remain where fear still rules the heart. Listen carefully now. One of the enemy's most subtle traps is convincing people to build their identity around blessing instead of me. Once this happens, fear immediately enters their lives. Fear of losing success, fear of losing relationships, fear of losing money, fear of losing status, fear of losing control. And suddenly, the very thing they once prayed for becomes the thing controlling them emotionally. But I never intended blessing to enslave you. I intended blessing to flow through a healed spirit rooted in peace. That is why Proverbs 10:22 says, "The blessing of the Lord brings wealth without painful toil for it, without sorrow attached, without emotional bondage attached, without hidden destruction attached." True blessing does not slowly poison the soul, it strengthens it. My beloved child, there are people who become prideful after breakthrough because deep inside they still feel empty. So they use success to prove their worth. They chase admiration instead of peace, recognition instead of healing, control instead of trust. And little by little, the blessing that once looked beautiful begins consuming them from the inside. But I refuse to let that happen to you. That is why humility became part of your process. That is why dependence on me became necessary. That is why your waiting season taught you what temporary things can never satisfy fully. Because once your heart truly understands this, you become safe to bless deeply. Do you understand what I am saying to you, my child? Your process was never punishment. It was preparation for stewardship. Preparation to carry blessing without losing your soul. Preparation to remain grounded even after breakthrough arrives. Preparation to stay close to me instead of drifting toward pride or fear. That is why some of your greatest lessons happened in hidden seasons, in quiet seasons, in lonely seasons, because hidden places reveal the true condition of the heart. And now your heart is becoming stronger, steadier, wiser, more discerning, more peaceful, more rooted in me than in temporary outcomes. That transformation matters more than you currently realize. My beloved child, many people think breakthrough means they will never face another battle again. But every new season carries new tests. Not tests of survival this time, but tests of stewardship. Will you remain humble when doors open? Will you remain peaceful when abundance increases? Will you remain faithful when life becomes easier? Will you continue depending on me after the pressure lifts? These are the quiet tests that determine whether blessing becomes lasting or temporary. And I am preparing you carefully for those moments now, because what I am bringing into your life is meant to remain, not collapse after one season, not disappear because fear returned, not become corrupted through pride or insecurity. I am building something lasting inside you. My beloved child, another reason healing had to happen first is because unresolved wounds distort the way people handle blessing. People wounded by rejection often cling too tightly once love arrives. People wounded by poverty often live terrified of losing provision even after abundance appears. People wounded by insecurity often seek endless validation even after success comes. And eventually, those hidden fears begin controlling their decisions. But I am healing your wounds at the root so that your future is not governed by old pain. So that blessing feels safe instead of frightening. So that peace remains steady even when life changes around you. That is why the process mattered so much. My beloved child, I know there were moments when you thought the process would never end. Moments when you questioned why healing required so much time. But now your spirit is becoming capable of carrying things your old self would have mishandled emotionally. You are becoming emotionally stronger, spiritually steadier, more discerning, less desperate for human approval, less controlled by fear, less dependent on external stability. That is transformation, and transformation protects blessing. Because healed people no longer chase things that destroy them. They recognize peace, they value wisdom, they choose alignment over temporary excitement, and they no longer sacrifice their soul trying to fill emotional emptiness through external success. My beloved child, your breakthrough is not only about receiving something new, it is about becoming someone new. Someone capable of carrying peace inside abundance. Someone capable of remaining humble inside favor. Someone capable of staying grounded even when doors begin opening rapidly. That is why your process became sacred, and soon you will understand why every hidden lesson mattered. Because your future is not being built on temporary excitement. It is being built on transformed foundations. My beloved child, protect your heart carefully in the seasons ahead. Do not allow blessing to replace intimacy with me. Do not allow success to become your identity. Do not allow fear of loss to steal your peace once breakthrough begins arriving. Remember where your strength came from during the waiting season. Remember who carried you when you felt exhausted. Remember who healed your spirit when no one else understood your pain. And stay close to me, because that closeness is what will preserve your peace long after the breakthrough arrives. But stay with me carefully now, because the next truth I reveal will uncover the moment your identity fully begins changing. The moment heaven starts calling you by a new name. And once you understand this, you will never see yourself the same way again. Comment, I will stay close to God if you refuse to lose yourself after the breakthrough. My beloved child, listen carefully now, because this next truth is sacred. For a long time, pain tried to rename you. Disappointment tried to rename you. Fear tried to rename you. Rejection tried to rename you. Your past tried to rename you. And after carrying those battles for so many years, you slowly began introducing yourself through wounds instead of through destiny. You became known by your struggles, known by your survival, known by your exhaustion. And somewhere deep inside, you started believing those painful seasons were your permanent identity. But hear me clearly now. What wounded you does not have the authority to name you. What rejected you does not have the authority to define you. What delayed you does not have the authority to determine your future. I alone determine your true identity, and my child, I am restoring your name. Do not skip this. This next part matters deeply. Throughout Scripture, whenever I prepared someone for transformation, I often changed their name first, because a new identity always comes before a new season. Abram became Abraham. Jacob became Israel. Simon became Peter. Why? Because their old identity could not carry the future I prepared for them. And my beloved child, the same thing is happening inside you now. Not necessarily through a physical name change, but through spiritual restoration. You are no longer the person fear convinced you that you were. No longer the wounded version of yourself trapped in survival mode. No longer the exhausted soul waiting constantly for disappointment. You are becoming someone new, even now, quietly, deeply, at the root. My child, I know it still feels unfamiliar sometimes. Part of you still expects old pain to return. Part of you still waits for disappointment. Part of you still hesitates before fully trusting peace. Because wounded identities do not disappear overnight. Healing happens layer by layer. But even though the process is gradual, restoration has already begun. You are thinking differently now, seeing differently now, responding differently now. The things that once controlled your emotions no longer carry the same authority over you. And that shift matters more than you realize, because identity determines direction. People move according to who they believe they are. If someone believes they are broken forever, they unconsciously build their future around limitation. If someone believes they are unwanted, they tolerate unhealthy love. If someone believes they are destined for failure, they stop reaching for greater things altogether. That is why the enemy fought your identity so aggressively. Because once your identity heals, your future changes automatically. My beloved child, for years you introduced yourself through pain without realizing it. You called yourself tired, broken, behind, damaged, unworthy. And after repeating those words inwardly long enough, your spirit slowly accepted them as truth. But those names never came from me. I never called you forgotten. I never called you hopeless. I never called you too late. Those were labels born through pain, and pain is not qualified to define your destiny. That is why Isaiah 62:2 says, "You will be called by a new name that the mouth of the Lord will bestow." A new name, not because your past never happened, but because your future is no longer chained to it. My beloved child, something powerful happens when a person finally sees themselves through my eyes instead of through their wounds. Fear begins weakening, shame begins breaking, confidence begins returning, peace begins settling into places that once carried chaos, and slowly the soul stops living like a prisoner of the past. That is what is happening inside you now. The old identity is losing power. The version of you that constantly expected rejection is fading. The version of you that lived trapped in emotional survival is fading. The version of you that believed you were permanently behind is fading, and a restored identity is beginning to rise. Not through pride, not through ego, but through truth. My child, heaven has always known who you truly are, even during the seasons you forgot yourself. Even when fear spoke loudly, I still saw your purpose. Even when exhaustion buried your confidence, I still saw your calling. Even when rejection distorted your self-worth, I still saw the oil upon your life. Because your identity was never created by your circumstances, it was created by me. And what I establish cannot be destroyed by temporary seasons. Listen carefully now. One reason your process became so painful is because identity restoration often requires separation from environments that reinforce old labels. Some people only knew the wounded version of you. Some people benefited from your insecurity. Some environments kept feeding the false identity you were trying to heal from. That is why certain relationships shifted, certain connections weakened, certain seasons ended unexpectedly, because your restored identity could not continue growing inside atmospheres attached to your brokenness. My beloved child, do not return emotionally to the places I healed you from. Do not keep speaking old labels over yourself after I have begun restoring your name. Do not continue introducing yourself through wounds I am actively healing. The old season is ending, and your language must begin changing with it. Because words shape identity, and identity shapes destiny. That is why Romans 12:2 says, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Transformation begins internally before it appears externally, and your mind is being renewed now. Your spirit is being renewed now. Your confidence is being renewed now. Little by little, your inner world is aligning with the truth heaven always spoke over your life. My beloved child, you are not who fear said you were. You are not who rejection said you were. You are not who your lowest season said you were. You are who I say you are, chosen, loved, protected, redeemed, restored, mine. And once that truth fully settles into your spirit, everything changes. Because healed identity changes decisions. Healed identity changes relationships. Healed identity changes standards. Healed identity changes expectations. Suddenly, you stop settling for what once wounded you. You stop shrinking yourself emotionally. You stop begging for validation from people who cannot define your worth. You stop building your future around fear, and instead, you begin walking with quiet authority. Not arrogance, not pride, peaceful authority. the kind that comes from finally understanding who you are. My beloved child, this is why the enemy fought your healing so intensely. Because restored people become difficult to manipulate. They stop returning to cycles that once controlled them. They stop tolerating emotional chaos. They stop partnering with lies. And once identity restoration fully takes root, the future begins opening differently. That is why your next season will not look like your old one, because you are not the same person anymore. You survived too much, healed too deeply, awakened too powerfully. Your spirit has changed, and heaven recognizes that change. My beloved child, you are becoming the beginning of a new story, not only for yourself, but for generations connected to your healing. Because restored people restore atmospheres around them. Healed people heal environments around them. Awakened people awaken others around them. And what I am doing inside your life now carries impact far beyond what you currently understand. That is why the battle became so personal. Because your restoration was never small, but now the old labels are breaking. The shame is breaking, the fear is breaking, and your true identity is finally rising above the pain that once buried it. My beloved child, do not fear this new season. You are ready for it, not because you became perfect, but because you became transformed. And transformation is what prepared you for the breakthrough that is now approaching. But stay with me carefully now, because the final truth I reveal next will uncover something extraordinary. Your breakthrough did not begin when circumstances changed. It began the moment your identity healed. And once you understand this, you will finally see how close your new season truly is. Comment "My name is restored" if you believe God is changing your identity. My beloved child, stay with me closely now, because this final truth changes everything. For so long, you believed breakthrough would begin the moment your circumstances changed. The moment money arrived, the moment doors opened, the moment pain disappeared, the moment life finally became easier. But what if I told you that your breakthrough actually began long before any visible change appeared? What if the miracle already started the moment your identity began healing? Because true breakthrough is never only external, it begins internally first. It begins the moment fear stops controlling your decisions. The moment shame loses authority over your mind. The moment hopelessness no longer defines your expectations. The moment your soul begins remembering who you truly are again. That is where breakthrough begins. And my beloved child, that process has already started inside you. Do not skip this. This next part matters deeply. You kept waiting for a dramatic sign, a sudden event, an instant transformation. But many of the greatest miracles happen quietly before they become visible publicly. Roots grow underground long before fruit appears above the surface. And for a long time, I have been rebuilding hidden places inside you that nobody else could see. Your confidence, your discernment, your peace, your identity, your dependence on me, your ability to recognize your worth again. All of that healing was part of the breakthrough. Because if your external life changed while your inner world remained broken, the old pain would eventually sabotage the new season. But now, something is different. You are thinking differently, responding differently, seeing yourself differently. The things that once crushed your spirit no longer hold the same power over you. And even though you still have moments of weakness sometimes, you are no longer who you used to be. That is transformation. And transformation is the evidence that heaven has already started moving in your life. My beloved child, I know there were moments when you felt abandoned during this process. Moments when you wondered if anything was changing at all. But while you were focused on visible outcomes, I was working at the foundation level of your soul, quietly removing old fears, quietly healing old wounds, quietly strengthening your spirit, quietly restoring your ability to hope again. And now the internal shift is beginning to affect your external life. The atmosphere around you is changing. Your discernment is becoming sharper. Your spirit is becoming lighter. Your peace is becoming deeper. and the things that once drained you emotionally are beginning to lose their grip. That is not coincidence, that is restoration. My beloved child, the enemy wanted you to believe you were stuck forever. It wanted you to believe the heaviness would never lift. It wanted you to believe your story would always remain trapped inside the same painful cycles. But the fact that you are still here proves something powerful. You survived what was supposed to break you. You endured seasons that should have destroyed your faith completely. You walked through battles nobody else fully understood. And somehow, despite all of it, your spirit still reached for me. That matters more than you realize, because many people lose themselves permanently inside pain. But even through exhaustion, even through confusion, even through disappointment, part of your soul still believed there had to be something greater waiting ahead. And my beloved child, you were right. There is more ahead. Much more. Listen carefully now. One reason your breakthrough felt delayed is because your destiny required complete rebuilding at the foundation level. You were not merely being prepared for temporary relief. You were being prepared for lasting transformation. Because what I am bringing into your life next cannot be sustained by the old version of you, the fearful version, the broken version, the survival mode version. That identity had to fade first, and now it is fading. Little by little, day by day, your mind is renewing. Your spirit is awakening, your confidence is returning, and heaven recognizes this shift even before you fully see it yourself. My beloved child, you are entering a season where things will begin aligning differently, not perfectly overnight, but noticeably. The confusion that once surrounded your life will begin clearing. The heaviness will begin lifting. The emotional chaos will begin weakening. And suddenly doors that once seemed impossible to open will begin moving unexpectedly. Because once internal transformation aligns with divine timing, external breakthrough becomes inevitable. That is why Romans 8:28 says, "And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God." All things, even the delays, even the heartbreaks, even the seasons of exhaustion, even the closed doors, even the battles you still do not fully understand. I was weaving purpose through all of it. Nothing was wasted. Not your tears, not your waiting, not your survival, not your healing process. Every painful season became part of the rebuilding. And one day soon, my beloved child, you will look back and finally understand why the process had to unfold the way it did. You will see how many hidden dangers you avoided, how many false identities were broken, how many wounds were healed, how many chains were removed quietly beneath the surface. And instead of mourning the waiting season, you will thank me for what the waiting produced inside you. Because the process did not destroy you, it transformed you. My beloved child, do not fear your future anymore. You are not entering it alone. The same hand that sustained you during the darkest seasons will remain with you in the brighter ones. The same voice that comforted you during exhaustion will guide you through breakthrough. The same presence that protected you during hidden battles will remain beside you when doors begin opening. You were never abandoned, not once. Even during the seasons when silence felt unbearable, I remained there, watching over you, protecting you, strengthening you, preparing you, loving you. And now your new season is approaching faster than you realize, not because you suddenly became perfect, but because your identity healed enough to receive what heaven prepared for you. Do you understand what I am saying, my child? The breakthrough did not begin when circumstances changed. It began when you stopped believing the lies. It began when your soul awakened from hopelessness. It began when you started seeing yourself through my eyes again. That is when restoration truly started. And now the external manifestation is beginning to catch up with the internal transformation. That is why you feel different lately, why your spirit senses change approaching, why certain old patterns no longer satisfy you, why your heart is craving peace more than survival. Your season is shifting. and heaven is preparing to reveal openly what has been growing secretly inside you for a long time. My beloved child, one final thing before this message ends. Do not return to the old identity. Do not return to the old fear. Do not return to the old labels. Do not return emotionally to places I healed you from. Keep moving forward. Keep trusting me. Keep protecting your peace. Keep listening to my voice above the noise of fear. Because the version of you emerging from this process is stronger than the version that entered it. Wiser, softer, more discerning, more peaceful, more grounded in truth. And that version of you is ready for the next season. The waiting is ending, the rebuilding is finishing, and the breakthrough has already begun. Type Amen if you believe your season is changing now, and share this message with someone who feels spiritually exhausted, because they need to hear this too.